With that, let me get to the last winner for this year, and that is Sunil Mithas from the University of South Florida. Sunil's work is very well recognized in information systems and in many allied disciplines like strategy and economics. More than 87 publications, over 12,000 citations, renowned for his scholarship across all these fields that I talked about. Great service through editorial work at, I've got some things popped up here, so I can't see the screen here, but I'm going to look up. POMS, Management and Management Business Review, member of editorial board of JMIS, and several other contributions, associate editor at ISR, and has worked tirelessly with many students, continues to impact the field in several ways. So Sunil, I'd like to hear from you.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to the Award Selection Committee, Professor Anandi Bharadwaj, Chris, Gaddis, and Olivia. Thank you for this kind recognition. I'm also grateful to all the nominators who took time to nominate me for this award, and I will name them. Paul Pablo, Andrew Burton Jones, Professor Alok Gupta, Arun Rai, Lauren Head, Tridas Mukhopadhyay, Omar El Savi, Yong Tan, Jonathan Whitaker, Ali Tafti, Peng Huang, Narayan Ramasubbu, Chivei Liu, and Terence Saldana. After, let's say, I heard the news on it was I think September 2nd, it was totally unexpected. It was more like a miracle for me. Trust me when I say that. I just couldn't believe it. Now I know that it is real. It cannot be taken back from me, right? So I trust it now. So then I was told that I can give from 2 to 5 minutes of award speech, and being a scholar that I am, I started with a literature review. I looked at the previous award speeches and did some literature review to come up with some kind of a conceptual model. So my conceptual model for award speech looked something like this, based on the prior award speeches. So this is an initial model that I came up with, and what I realized was that people who are receiving these awards, in some fashion or the other, they are shaped by the institutions where they went to. But more important in the institutions were the individuals. So our teachers, our mentors, people who took interest in us, people who told us, you could do this, everything is possible. Our collaborators, our students, and our editors and reviewers, I have to say that. In fact, that is true. From the bottom of my heart, I've been extremely lucky with the editors who were willing to be very open, and the reviewers who were willing to be very, very constructive. I've been extremely lucky on that front. And finally, last but not the least, the family and the friends who really keep you going when you receive so many rejections. So there were days when I received rejections on day 1, day 2, day 3, and that is when you realize the value of the family who keeps you going. So of course, at the same time, I know that this model is not perfect. I can't identify an intervention here. Causality is suspect. So these days, I really believe in this conjunctural causation and the idea of equifinality. There could have been so many counterfactual trajectories, but this is the trajectory that happened to me. So I'm going to now do some time travel, as you recommended just now, and maybe try to give you a slightly different perspective on my journey. My journey is quite unusual in many, many ways. So I can start the clock in 2000 when I came to America, exactly 22 years and 2 months ago, on August 21st. I came to America with a family of 3, myself, my wife, and my son. I was doing very well in India. I had full 10 years of my career. So I graduated in 1990 from IIT Roorkee. And at that time, I could never imagine I will ever become a professor. All I wanted to do was become a good engineer. And in fact, I was motivated by a very speech that was given by the Prime Minister of India, that to build the modern temples of India, create infrastructure of India, create Bhakra Nangal Bandh, those kinds of things. So I was trained at IIT Roorkee, and that's all I wanted to do. And I got so lucky to work at a company called Tata Steel, and I thought I was done. I was all set for life, because this was the company that was creating that foundation of India. So that happened. I was engineering graduate, became an engineer. It took about 6-7 years. But then very quickly, some of my superiors or managers took interest in me, and they started asking me, why are you not doing MBA? I said, why should I do an MBA? He said, by doing an MBA, you can do more impact. So anyway, they persuaded me, but the life was happening at the same time too. Again, time travel. So in 1994, I got married. That was a great thing that happened to me. I found my direction to some extent. 1996, my son was born. I was a totally different person at that moment in time. But then I was also being prodded by my superiors to do MBA, which I did. And in fact, with my family, went to do my MBA at MDI Gurgaon. After that, I didn't want to do anything to do with engineering. I wanted to do management now. So I got an opportunity to work with a company called Tata Ryerson. I became the executive assistant to the managing director. I was now handling board level issues, exactly saying what the CEO does. And I did that for 2 years. Then I got an opportunity to be part of starting a new operation in North India. I was a regional manager North, sent there. The idea was that I will make it profitable at some moment in time. The good news is I made it profitable within 3 months. And that was an amazing accomplishment personally for myself. By that time, I had also realized, and in fact, one intervention that happened to me was, I had a good friend who I had lost connection with. So thanks to internet, I would not be here had it not been due to internet. So I had lost connection with him, and he was doing PhD at University of Maryland. I got in touch with him in 1998, and he said, why don't you come to US to do PhD? I said, why will I come to do PhD? Because that was never on my horizon at all. He says, why don't you give an exam called GMAT? I find exams very interesting for me. So I thought at least that will be challenging for me. So I said, okay, I will give the GMAT exam. So then the scores came and I was sleeping on that. He said, why are you not applying to the universities? I said, I don't know how to apply to the universities. So thankfully, email had been discovered and he started educating me over the email that these are the top universities, you should apply here, there, things like that. So as a result of his efforts and his interventions and his mentorship that he provided to me, in 2000, I landed in Detroit. And the story I told to my wife was that I think there's no harm, we're not going to be losing anything here. And my son wanted to meet with Robocop in Detroit because he was watching, these cartoon movies at that time. So we landed in America in 2000. It had been a thoroughly amazing journey. I think I got to meet with some of the best of the people after that. So I did PhD from 2000 to 2005. 2005 to 2018, I was at University of Maryland. Great set of colleagues who really shaped my trajectory. And since 2008, I'm at University of South Florida. And these are some of the pictures that I have picked together. Not everybody is here. I know that some of my teachers, these are my high school teachers in mathematics, 10th, 12th. They are not here anymore, but they are with me in the spirit. The teachers who taught me at IIT Roorkee, 2 of them there. I got lucky and I was hired by Mr. Rusi Modi at Tata Steel. Some of the superiors that I got, they provided mentorship to me, which changed my trajectory. In fact, when I was taking study leave, it was almost got to be denied. But then there was a gentleman who was the HR manager who did his PhD from Wharton, and he intervened very forcefully. And he said, let this guy go, because if he wants to do higher education. Then I met with some of the people at MDI Gurgaon. They were my professors. Had a chance meeting with Professor C.K. Prahlad, who was the management guru of India at that time. And that really inspired me to really think about the management career. These were my bosses in Tata Ryerson. And I think if I had not met him, probably I would have never considered America because his office was very close to my office as an expat. He was an expat there. This is the gentleman I was talking about, Abhishek Srivastava, who was doing his PhD at University of Maryland and who has been instrumental in my trajectory since my graduation in 1990 for the last 32 years. Don Harter took mercy at me, admitted me at University of Michigan, but so did Professor Samamurthy, who is here and who has been a mentor of mine since 1999 when I was applying for the PhD programs. And now you can see my advisor here, Professor M.S. Krishnan, many other great colleagues, my committee members, many of the editors. Of course, I got lucky then, went to University of Maryland, senior colleagues, and they in fact filled in the holes which were left in my PhD education in the 5 years. And some of those holes are still being filled by my many other collaborators and my PhD students. So this has been truly an amazing journey where so many, countless people, I think there are many, many more whose pictures I have not put here, who have influenced me in so many different ways, who took personal interest and made me what I am today. So I'm so thankful to them. This is just a picture of all my co-authors, more than 120 of them. And you can see there's plenty of white space there. So I'm looking for more. And in fact, every time I find new co-authors, they really rejuvenate me. I rediscover myself. So thank you so much for all these co-authors. Many of them are actually my mentors, very, very senior colleagues who have inspired me. And these are the things that keep me going. So this is my family. This boy here, who was 5 years old when I came to America, is now 26 years old. He works for Google. So I do research on IT professionals, and when he was looking for something to do in high school, I told him, why don't you do computer science? And that's what happened. So we are so pleased that he followed my advice. So thank you so much to this community, to everybody for heartfelt thanks. Sorry, I took more time.